Tralee Warriors, Austin Stacks, Kerry, the Armagh footballers, plenty more besides. Kieran Donaghy, you're very welcome to the show. Good evening.
Good evening, Joe. How are you?
I'm great. I just heard Arthur line you up there and you were saying your earbuds may not have enough battery, but you will give it a go. That's a very Kieran Donaghy thing I would say to us. Just keeping everyone on edge. Let's see how we go.
Yeah, Joe, you've worked with me long enough. You know the score.
Hey, congratulations. Busy couple of weeks. So to bring people up to speed, I'm sure they're watching from afar, but Munster Club final for Stacks, huge disappointment. You lose to Finbars by 2 points, and then you have to go again for Tralee Warriors in the National Cup final in Tallaght Stadium. 88 points to 75 winners, so a first National Cup for Tralee Warriors. And this was the dream, wasn't it? I know there've been a couple of Super Leagues over the last number of years, but since you got basketball back in Tralee, top elite basketball, a day out, winning the National Cup, live on television, that's kind of what you were reared on when it was, huge deal. So big congrats, amazing.
Yeah, thanks. No, it's been a great few days. We did a good party in our sponsors bar, the Greyhound Bar, on Sunday during the day, and then our captain Fergal O'Sullivan owns the Castle Bar, so we went up there and there was live music at 7 o'clock, and to say there was a bit of a buzz was to say the least, but it was good fun, and it was great for the town, because you're right, we did work hard to get here, and it wasn't an easy journey. Lots of ups and downs. COVID thrown into the middle of it, where we had the season kind of taken off us. So yeah, it was tough, but delighted that everybody in the committee that stuck with it for the 2 years with all the Zoom meetings to keep it going, to keep at the fundraising and sponsors and keeping everybody engaged. And we kind of knew that hopefully we'd be okay. It was a bit touch and go at the start of the season when numbers were on the rise. But I think with the restrictions dropped just in time, Friday night, might I add, with the crowd that came to the arena on Saturday night, and just that being able to have the few points with the lads was really enjoyable.
How does a basketball winning session compare with a GAA winning session?
Well, we went up to the All-Ireland final the day of the game. I was actually up there with Hillary. We stayed in Johnstone House with the kids on Friday night, and met the team in Straffan on the following day, the Saturday, and but they'd bust up during the day, and we had a nice meal, and then we went to the arena. We won our cup. We came out, and there was a pretty immediate call to get to the off license across the way from the arena and the central shop. And fellas started the usual, like you'd go to the club. In fairness to Gerard, they run a really tight ship. The money guys and the Warriors, they run it really tight. But Gerard threw out a few 50s, or as Barry John Keane would call them, a few foxies, and we fellas started getting a few cans of beer, and pretty quickly fellas started looking for more top shelf. So the bus down, dare I say, was pretty wild, and we'd bags of ice, and we'd Jameson and ginger ale, and it was pretty full on by the time we got home. It was the shortest journey I'd done from Dublin in an awful long time, Joe. So really good, really good.
I can imagine. And just in case anyone's wondering, there is no part of Kieran Donaghy that's thinking to himself, I'm a 39-year-old man, I'm a father, I'm too old for this crack. I suspect you were right in the midst of it.
Hey, Joe, take a guess where I was sitting if you were to pick a spot in the bus for the messer.
I'm going to have a guess, back row.
Back row in the middle, so my two legs could get out on the gap, and that I had good dancing space. When we stopped, when I took off my safety belt. But it was I was down the back of the bus, and I am all those things. But when you win a cup that you've been trying so hard for, and there's that buzz in this group, and the cohort to the Irish guys, the Owen Quigleys, the Fergal O'Sullivans, the Darrow Hanlons, all of our new rookies that have come through this year that are just loving the experience of the Warriors. And, we've Daniel Jokubaitis, who's Lithuanian, but he's been in Ireland for 4 years now and loves Tralee. And Tralee love him. He got MVP on Saturday night. And and then we got Nicola Rosso from he came in this year, and Ranan Elksis from Latvia, and yeah, we got our 2 Americans. One's in the college here in the MTU, doing a master's, Brandon Cotton, and we got a really good point guard and a guy called Aaron Calixte, who, when Trae Young left the Oklahoma Sooners to go to the draft and to get drafted by the Atlanta Hawks, and we all know what happened to him. This guy, Aaron Calixte, was called in from his last year. He was going into his last year in Maine University, and he got called down to Oklahoma to have the unenviable task of replacing Trae Young's abilities, and did a really good job for them. And got unlucky, came out as a pro, and season cancelled where he was, and then another year without basketball. So he needed somebody to bring him on a contract, and we were only too delighted to get him, and a real top player, and played on a busted ankle in the semi-final, Joe, against Dana, where he was, I remember looking at him in the warm-up and calling Garrett Moore over, the assistant coach, and saying, Garrett, bring him over and sit him down and ask him, can you run up and down and can you guard somebody? Because if he can't, we've got Brandon, and we got to go with a guy that's physically able to compete at this level. And but Aaron hit a big 3-pointer at the start of the game that settled our nerves, and just gutted his way through it and played through the pain barrier, and we saw how swollen it was afterwards. And we rested him against Colester last week, and he had 19 points as well. He had 19 points the weekend, and did well, but there's so much more in him, and we know how good he is, and he's had 34 and 36 points in the complex this year, so he's a top player. So we've got a lovely group, and it's good times at the moment.
And the town have really taken to them as well. From it's very obvious watching the celebrations. So for people who have a passing interest in basketball and maybe do watch the National Cup final when it's on, and then there's a bit of nostalgia for a lot of people from the 80s and 90s in that respect, they're probably thinking to themselves, Tralee Warriors, I thought it was Tralee Tigers, and so what's happened here is an amazing example, I suppose, for any town around the country and for Irish sport. The Tigers disbanded in 2009, and you had grown up in the Tigers and won titles with the Tigers, so disbanded in 2009, and in the vacuum were Brendan's and Tralee Imperials, 2 clubs, and it was maybe 15 into 16, and I know you were at the forefront of this, where people got together and said, well, let's unify Brendan's and let's unify Tralee and try and take Tralee basketball onto a higher plane. And 700 kids between the 2 clubs, so lots of talent and potential there, and it's been a huge success story, and that's where Tralee Warriors have been born out of. I saw in one interview you described the unification as like a UN peacekeeping mission at times, but you got there.
Yeah, we did. We got there. No, it was like, in fairness, Mark Burnson, who was our first coach in the Super League, was over coaching the Imperials under 20 kind of National League team, and I was kind of coming to the end of the football days, and he was saying, we should play a bit of basketball, and we should try and get a Super League together. And I was kind of saying, well, if that's ever going to happen, Mark, the 2 clubs have to come together, because Fergal O'Sullivan and Darren O'Sullivan and Paul McMahon and all these guys that were on the Brendan side that won that intermediate championship National Cup in 2016, and then you had Ryan Leonard, who's since gone to college, and you talk about all them kids, the 700 kids, it's so accessible now to dream about college in America, and we've got 4 guys over there at the minute, 4 guys that would be a huge part of the journey of winning that cup. When you look at Ryan Leonard, Rat Bovidas, Dara Kennelly, Leroy Odiahy, they're all out there trying to make a life for them on a college sense, and they always know that if it doesn't work, or if it doesn't work out, that they're going to have this Tralee Warriors team to come back to, either as a Bosman or just maybe coming here and getting a job in Tralee, and we see how people are able to work more remote, and go and play a sport and keep up a hobby that has served them, travelling across the world to play the game. And that's what all these kids have. And the Warriors on a Saturday night with the crowd that we get at games, and the interest that there is at the games, there's huge avenues of possibility for the kids now in Tralee that are playing the game, and indeed all over Kerry, Killorglin do great work, Castle Islands ladies team. I'd love to see a potential team, coming out of Tralee ladies wise as well. I have 3 girls. Fergal O'Sullivan has 2 girls. There's loads of girls that are playing loads of basketball that we want that option for them there as well. The ladies final was unbelievable this weekend. Kerry girl captaining that we'd love to see down here playing Anya McKenna. So there's so much going on in the game in Kerry. It's always been a really strong place for basketball, and it's in a really good place now. But we have to mind it and keep working at it, and keep putting on that show on a Saturday night that's going to keep more kids coming back and going to keep more kids in the game. The schools basketballs, the Green were in the A final 3 years ago. You've John Dowling up there last week, our coach, who's done an incredible job with this group this year in his first year alongside Garrett Moore and the forever young Jimmy Diggins. They're coaching kids teams in under 16s and under 19s National Cup finals on Wednesday and training with us on Thursday and Tuesday and up and down to Dublin and up and down. So incredible amounts of energy from those guys as well. And that's what it's about. That's why it was so important that Terry O'Brien came in as chairman, who chairman the Tigers to the great success, and that that we got a committee together and the chairman of Brennan's and Imperials, Pat Carey and John, were able to sit down and talk out some of the potential issues that were there. And it was straight talking. I was coming in from a point of view that I played with Brennan's and that I was obviously a Tigers guy. I had no real affiliation to Imperials, but could witness the work that was going on there and knew that if this thing was to be successful long term and have a future with kids coming through, that we needed to have the pick of the bunch. And we met with Basketball Ireland and they were very good. They allowed us actually to go straight into the Super League. They were looking for a team, I think, and they needed more teams around the Southern Conference. And we told them that we were ready made after winning the Intermediate Cup. We were bringing in Ryan Leonard. We told them we'd got good sponsorship on board. We were going to bring in a few pros and we were going to try and be competitive. And thankfully it's worked out better than any of us in that original committee and the committees that have worked so hard since could have imagined. And I think Saturday's outpouring of emotion from the fans and the players, that's what it was all about for people that might have been looking in going, Jesus, they're happy they won a cup. It was it means a huge amount to us as players, and even Fergal bringing me up to lift the cup with him was a huge moment, and even bringing out chills on my back now. So it was great. It was a great day, to be honest.
Yeah, it looked amazing, I have to say. What's your role on a basketball court these days then?
I'm a white Dennis Rodman, Joe. If you know your NBA,
so you're an enforcer, are you?
Without the off court antics, it's not even an enforcer. Just play good defense in the block, try and get rebounds, try and make energy plays. I'm a good passer. I've got good vision. Try and set up guys the basket, get it to the scorers, and if I get the opportunity myself to finish. But there's unbelievable athletes in the league right now. Our own Quigley is dunking over people every night. Keane Heafy, you saw his dunk over our guy Nicola Ross, so he won't be impressed with that poster.
Could you dunk in your youth, or is that was never an option?
Oh, I was a high flyer, Joe. I got loads of dunks in the Super League. I can still dunk, would you believe? The rim has to be about 9'11" and a half. You know the old scene from White Men Can't Jump when Billy Hiles trying to get up there and dunk that last ball. Like, if it's regulation, I might be under a bit of bother. But no, I got a dunk in the warm-up the last day, which I was pretty impressed with myself with. But yeah, no, I leave the high flying up to the there's Larkin Murphy. There's Basketball Ireland. Look, the game was on TV the weekend, Joe. You see the amount of attention it gets and how good that is for Basketball Ireland and the brand. And there's a lot of stuff on TV now, and I really think, look, Tina G are brilliant with the sport they cover, and they covered it brilliantly the weekend. But I think our league finals could be covered. I think, if more and more young people see us on TV, there's more likely to go to the games, and if you get more kids going to the games all over the country, the game is growing. And from the NBA, Joe, you're on Twitter, you see how popular the NBA is with people in Ireland at the moment, and all the American sports. Basketball is right up there at the top of the list for people that like being in American sports. And I think we need to generate more around our own game, because if you see Larkin Murphy with Temple Oak and the dunks, he's on the national team, like, he's 6 foot maybe, and he can 360 it, jump over people, dunk over people, put people on posters, and it'd be great to see more and more highlights of these guys going out more and more. And Basketball Ireland will continue to develop, their online, which is really strong, and maybe even top 10 plays of the week. If that was played among the likes of yourselves and these people, there's all the games are streamed now with the streaming service. So there's huge plays being made every week, and we need to get more of that out there for the game to continue to grow the way it is.
And back to you for a second. Would you have scored more when you were younger? Is this like, sometimes a free scoring midfielder becomes a sitting midfielder and then maybe moves to centre half when his legs go? Is that kind of what's happened here with you?
Yeah, that's what's happened with me. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Scoring was a big part of my game when I was playing basketball, a lot more than I am now. So you need to have, you play enough golf, Joe. If you're not playing, your little bits of touch and that stuff get hugely affected. But when I was playing all the time, I was always targeting above 16 to 18 points, trying to get that 4 or 6 points a quarter. Get to the free throw line, and maybe have a night where you get 20, get 25. 29 is the most I scored in a Super League game, and you have to have that touch, and you have to have the confidence in your own ability and your focus. And when you're not playing as much, it's easier just to go do the dirty stuff. Go get low on defense. Go get the boards. Carry yourself in the right way that keeps your guys on their toes, and don't take a backward step from the opposition, and try and bring edge all the time. And that's what my role has kind of gone to now. But I like that role, and with the amount of scorers and players I have around me, I don't need to score anymore. Whereas I maybe needed to score a bit more when I was younger.
Oh, interesting. Because I remember being at Tala for, it was either semi-final or final. I'd say it was 07-08 territory. That sound right for you? Were you? Yeah. And obviously you'd burst on the scene from a Kerry point of view. And see, the thing, that was where I realised you had a narky head in you, actually. Because in GAA, you're all smiles and it was nice and easy. And obviously we saw it later out. We saw the competitor in GAA come out later. But I remember at Tala getting to hear you at close quarters and realising, this isn't just like an easygoing full forward type who likes scoring. There's kind of like a Roy Keane persona going on here. So that was my first experience actually of seeing you in person and just watching you ball everyone out of it. So you're still at that, I presume.
But like, look, if a guy, there's no problem with the balling out of it, but I'm more the other way of encouraging and just being a communicator and always talking. And I'm going to tell you do great, and I'm going to I'll cheer you the whole way down the court.
Yes, actually, sorry, I should say that as well. There's a lot of like well dones. It's more that.
Yeah. It is, and that allows maybe me then to be straight when I feel like that something needs to be said or that kind of way. And I think people take it off me because they know that away from the court, I'm there to support, and and definitely on the court, encouraging, love seeing people do well, love making people look better, love trying to get them the ball so they can go and do their thing. And but yeah, I did snap a small bit the last day, Ronnie. I apologise if you're watching, Ronnie. The 6'7" Latvian who'd probably kill me. Just fell asleep for a second on Neil Sabata and got caught in back door. And I made a big point in the dressing room before the game to no and ones, no and ones around the basket, as in no fouls when they're laying it up and they still score. And then, that was gone after 2 minutes when Keane Heafy dribbled it into the floor and dunked it on top of our 6'10" Croatian. And he fouled him. And I was like, but it was such a big play and it was such a high octane and I wasn't on the floor. I couldn't say anything. But at the start of the second quarter, Ronnie got caught with just a back door, just fell asleep while watching for a second. And Sabata laid it up to the side and I went to block it out of reaction of seeing him right at the hoop and picked up a foul. And then, I had a little bark at Ronnie, but I was high-fiving him for the rest of the game, Joe. But look, basketball is you're up close and personal
you get
too,
to feel
Joe,
it,
when you're at it. But you get to feel it. But
my sense is you, almost like a classic extrovert, because you love being around people, and you've said before you couldn't do an individual sport, but team environment, that's where you're really rocking. Watching you in the court, you seem to you thrive and get energy from encouraging other people, would be the way I see it. You almost G yourself up by bringing other people along vocally with you and ride that wave. You try and create an atmosphere, I find.
Yeah, I do. And I always, tell people that, bring your personality to the thing. Don't try and look cool. That's a kind of a thing that's nowadays is evident, I feel sometimes. And I'll run down the court and I'll get the crowd going. And I'm not doing it for anything else, but I know when the crowd get going, it's going to give us energy. We're going to be a bit more desperate on defense. Then we get a stop. They're going again. When they're quiet, I'd often in the complex, if they go quiet or a team gets a run, I'll turn around and look at them and be like, okay, guys, I need you to get going. And they'll go and they'll respond. And it's just doing, and I would have done that with Kerry and I would do that with Stacks. And I probably look like a bit of an idiot. And if somebody's looking at it, they're probably like going, look at this clown getting his crowd going. They're up 12, but I really couldn't care what they think. I just know it's going to help me and it's going to help my team.
Yeah.
And that's really all that counts, because I'm trying to win a game. So I don't really care. And I heard you recently talking about me on, I don't know, was it on the golf pod? It was, no. It was just on some interview where you were saying that you playing golf with me and that you felt like you had to make the putt when I was kind of going, let's go, Joe.
The pressure.
Joe,
this was like, Joe. But it was great actually. We played together once and we had the pleasure of it was us two against another two. And honestly, it's like, I loved it, but man, I remember that round more than a lot of rounds, because it was lots of as we're walking up the fairway, it's like, come on, Joe, we'll put the pressure on them here, man. We'll get into them here. Let's just chip this close and see what they got. Let's rattle them. They're rattled. And then you're standing over, but you got this, Joe. You got this, buddy. And it's like, Jesus, it's loud here. You know what I mean? I felt like there was a crowd. But it was, I got a glimpse, and I could imagine what that's like about something you really care about, even though you cared about the golf match. But man, I could imagine you around basketball or around Kerry, in that dressing room and the talk, and I was G'd up, so I can only imagine what you're doing when it's actually important. Not me fluffing one from 20 yards.
No, you didn't fluff too many that day, no, I can tell you. But yeah, no, look, it's something it's me, and I'm not going to try and change it, or I'm not going to.
You're going to miss it when it's gone. You're going to miss it. For you to you won't replace that easily.
No, I won't replace it easily. No, I won't. And but the 4 balls, we'll just make the 4 balls competitive, Joe. Don't worry about it. We'll keep it going, and I'll be doing a bit of coaching, and I'll be doing enough. I'm competitive in business as well, and PST is a huge thing for me now, and we're really pushing on hard. Right. So I'll have always. You saw, even when I was with Owen and Ger, it was, I loved doing it, and I was really into it, and I, gave it as best as I could. And then obviously the coaching came on, and I had to kind of take a little step back. But it's, whatever, there'll be loads of stuff that'll keep me engaged. And you yourself, I'm a dad of three girls, so I'm going to have plenty going on. So, but true. No, that I do love that chase of victory, and it comes with a load of pain, obviously, and I've lost load more finals than I've won, and it just keeps bringing you back, and it keeps bringing me back, and the love for the game and that level of competition, and to have it at my doorstep in Tralee with the basketball, and obviously the Stacks this year, it was pretty special few months now.
Yeah, I can imagine. Amazing. And at your age to be still going strong and juggling all that is really impressive. Not everyone gets to do it, for instance. And it was news today on the football pod. James ODonoghue is retired from intercounty football, so he's going to be on the football pod with Paddy Andrews and Tommy this year. And we're talking about a 2-time All-Star. We're talking about a guy burst on the scene, Footballer of the Year 2014. So at 31 years of age, he has pretty much said his body isn't up to going again the way he needs it to be. He's had 5 surgeries. I'll just play you a clip before I get your thoughts on James. This is him talking on the pod today with Paddy and Tommy, and there's a regret there on his part because he maybe didn't give himself time to heal enough, and often came back too quickly after injuries. And at another point in the interview, not in this clip, he says maybe he should have taken a year out at a certain stage just to come back ready to go properly. So this is him on that dilemma and coming back too quickly. Here's the clip.
If you can just take a step back and look at the bigger picture for a couple of minutes, and you say, right, I'd way rather take my time, come back ready and strong and fit and whatever, than come back shy of that, not be as good, and put yourself under pressure in everything else, confidence wise and everything. Then, you know, it's the bigger picture. If you take it into account, there was people telling me to wait, and I was like, nah. You know, I'll keep going, but stupid. But everyone's in the same boat, and even with young fellas now, I'd be saying to them, just take the time. You know, take the time, because there's no point in rushing. There's nothing to gain from it.
James ODonoghue there. So look, he still retires a Footballer of the Year and an All-Ireland winner and 2-time All-Star. I suppose, Kieran, the regret he'll have, and lots around Kerry will have, is that if you'd said in 2014, when he was 24 years of age, winning Footballer of the Year, that this would be it done at 31, we would have been not too keen on that scenario. But that's unfortunately how it worked out for James.
Yeah, I think people from Kerry, and I think people that love GA and you know, will remember the goals and the skill and the bit of magic he had. And yeah, like, you know, he won 2 All-Irelands. 2 things I admire about him is, yeah, they're all the obvious things that you'd admire of just how good he was when he was healthy. But for me, you know, I admire, he was asked to do a job in 2014 in the All-Ireland final when he was going for Player of the Year, and everybody was talking about him being Player of the Year, to go out and bring Neil McGee away from the goals and get on ball and keep him occupied and play good ball in to myself and Paul Ganey, and never flapped it at Joe, and you know, was absolutely that's what you want me to do. Perfect, let's go do that. You know, where a guy could be going, oh, hold on a minute, no, like I scored 2-6 against Mayo 2 weeks ago. You know, I want to be in there banging in goals and doing all that. So I admire that about him, and I admire hugely that, you know, he had 5 or 6 surgeries, and they're the surgeries he was trying to come back from. He also had times where his shoulder was just popping out constantly, and look, unfortunately, he was very unlucky with the shoulders, and you know, that all that had an effect. He had to put on so much bulk up here to try and keep them in, try and keep them from popping. Then he got operations and surgeries to hold them down, and you know, he had to put on more bulk to mind them. And then he started picking up a few lower limb injuries and maybe carrying the extra bit of muscle that he had to put on for that. So he was just, but it was all effort. He was trying to come back. He never really moped about the place. He was always high energy. He was always good fun. He was always sticking it into the top corner in warm up. If you saw him in warm ups, you know, in Kerry training, like, it was a joy to behold. He was just coming in and wrapping them into the top corner, like, you know. And you know, I'm gutted for him that he just didn't get, you know, enough of a break with the injuries. And you know, even for me, like Gooch, I was injured in 13 and 14 with the osteopubis. Gooch did the cruise shit in 14 and missed 14 a lot of 15, and James started struggling with the shoulders all around that time. So we never really got a huge run of a bulky years as a 13, 14, 15. And you also had Paul Ganey, who was incredible coming at that time as well, and Darren Sullivan and Kieran Donaghy and these guys. So there was a lot going on there, but you know, he never brought the group anywhere down. He was always positive around the place, and he always, you know, was good fun and gave huge amount of effort into Kerry and Kerry football. And he has an All-Ireland medal in his arse pocket, and that's a valuable item. They're hard won, and he won a hard one, and he was very unlucky, obviously, in 13, that epic semi-final against the great Dublin team, and obviously in 15 as well. So you know, yeah, absolutely. At 24, when he was coming off the back of that season, you know, if you were to say at 31 he's going to be gone, and you know, played very little the last while, you know, you wouldn't like that outcome for him. But James will be fine. You know, I'm sure now the work he'll do with Paddy and Tommy there, they'll have good crack. James is an unbelievable character. He'll add a huge amount to the podcast, I would say.
I think they're doing an Armagh special in a month or two. They don't like what they're smelling there. got the forensics out. There's a few issues in Armagh they're going to get deep into, I think, very soon. That's what's going on.
Yeah, well, James has played enough against the Legion. He doesn't want me calling out, knocking at the front door. But no, he'll add a lot to. He's honest. He'll say what he thinks. He's funny. He's witty. I'm sure there'll be a good bit of banter around the pod with him on it, and he'll be a very, very good replacement for Andy and the boys, and it's a great show. So I wish James the best luck for that, man, and just like to thank him for his time as a teammate to me.
Come on.
And the way he was around, and for what he did for Kerry football, and for his club, the Legion, and his family, and his dad, who was a great player before him. Did many proud days watching James Donaghy.
Well said. Congratulations again. Amazing to win the cup final, and the scenes were great at the weekend. So Tralee Warriors back at the top. Kieran Donaghy, thanks a mil. I know you're busy today. Appreciate it.
Joe, we'll see you in the complex. You'll have to come to the complex and play Tralee someday, because Fergal O'Sullivan, our captain, plays off of 2 and +2, and our captain that won the league with us, Butters O'Sullivan, who pulled away during COVID from the team. He is a +3, maybe +4.
So what you're saying is we could take them. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, I think with our you soften up the handicap now. This new system is a disaster, but we'll have a go. We'll have a go after them.
Okay, good man.
If you make your putts, we're good.
Okay, I hear you. Right, go on. Thanks a mil.
Good luck.